Then rationale of use of intravenous drugs in anesthesia, basic pharmacology of these drugs, followed by dynamics of these IV agents, then advantages and disadvantages of the main drugs, followed by a little knowledge about the use of pre-anesthetic medication. Starting with the introduction, the intravenous general anesthetics use is increasing. Their use does not require a specialized apparatus. The IV agents like thiopental, propofol, ketamine, etomidate have rapid onset of anesthetic action and are used commonly for induction of anesthesia. These are potent enough to be used as sole agents for surgical procedures of short duration, means the combination of anesthetic therapy may not be used. Many surgical procedures may not require complete anesthesia and they can be performed under the conscious sedation. For example, drug-induced reduction of anxiety and pain with altered state of consciousness. The benzodiazepines and opioid analgesics are used intravenously to produce a state of conscious sedation. In this state, patients maintain their respiration and respond to vocal commands. The IV agents are also commonly used to provide sedation during monitored anesthesia care and for patients in ICU settings. Like the inhaled agents, no currently available intravenous anesthetic is an ideal anesthetic drug. This we can say in the sense of producing all the 5 desired effects. Let me clear that we want these effects from an ideal general anesthetic drug: the unconsciousness, amnesia, analgesia, inhibition of autonomic reflexes, and skeletal muscle relaxation. As we said that no available general anesthetic possesses all these actions, so the balanced anesthesia is tried with multiple drugs. That is inhaled anesthetics, sedative hypnotics, opioids, neuromuscular blockers. These drugs are generally used to minimize in combination to minimize unwanted side effects. The termination of the effects of a general anesthetic after giving a single bolus of an IV anesthetic, the redistribution of the drug terminates the actions. Redistribution into less perfused and inactive tissues such as skeletal muscle and fat tissue. Starting with the drug thiopentone sodium. This thiopentone sodium, also known as thiopental, and the other drug methotrexate. These are ultra short acting barbiturates. The thiopental is commonly used mainly for induction. Thiopentone produces rapid induction of anesthesia. Its anesthetic effect persists for about 5 to 8 minutes. It decreases BP and reflexively increases heart rate. It is contraindicated in hepatic and renal disease, in COPD, and in acute intermittent porphyria. Clinically used are these barbiturates for induction of anesthesia and for anticonvulsant effect in emergency treatment of convulsions. The advantages of thiopental: it is rapid and smooth in induction and recovery. The unconsciousness occurs in less than 30 seconds following anesthetic dose of thiopental. its administration is easy, it's cheaper, and incidence of nausea and vomiting is lesser in recovery period. It does not sensitize myocardium to adrenal inaction, and these barbiturates may provide neuroprotection from focal cerebral ischemia. For example, of a stroke, surgical retraction, or temporary eclipse during aneurysm surgery. But probably they don't provide the protection from cerebral ischemia due to cardiac arrest. The advantages of thiopental also include that they are potent cerebral vasoconstrictors and produce decrease in cerebral blood flow, cerebral blood volume, and intracranial pressure. As a result, they decrease cranial metabolic rate of oxygen, cerebral metabolic rate of oxygen consumption. Due to decreasing in intracranial pressure and cerebral metabolic rate of oxygen, the barbiturates are useful in the management of patients with space-occupying intracranial lesions, means tumors, or cerebral edema. The disadvantages of thiopental: it is poor analgesic. In fact, the barbiturates decrease pain threshold and increase pain sensation. It means they cause hyperalgesia. They also cause inadequate muscle relaxation. The stage of surgical anesthesia is achieved very rapidly, so the constant supervision is necessary to prevent overdose of the thiopental. It produces cough, laryngospasm, and bronchospasm, as well as side effects. Also produces respiratory depression and myocardial depression and hypotension. The injection around the nerve may also cause the side effect of muscle paralysis. Now, switching over to the next drug, the propofol. It is a newer agent that produces rapid induction and rapid recovery. It is the most frequently used intravenous anesthetic in many countries nowadays. It is rapidly metabolized in liver, which is 10 times faster than thiopental. Propofol's pharmacokinetic profile allows for its continuous infusion, so maintenance can be better controlled. Maintenance of the anesthesia. Besides its use for induction and maintenance of general anesthesia, the propofol is also used for profound sedation in the ICU, as well as for the conscious sedation and short duration general anesthesia in locations outside the operation room, like intervention, radiology setting, or emergency department. Its advantages: the propofol decreases intracranial pressure and also depresses respiration. It does not produce cardiac arrhythmia or myocardial ischemia, does not impair hepatic or renal function. Recovery from anesthesia after the use of propofol is rapid and more complete, with less hangover than that observed with thiopental. The postoperative nausea and vomiting are also uncommon, and the patients feel better in immediate postoperative period after propofol use than with any other IV anesthetic agent. The disadvantages of propofol: it can produce involuntary movements, twitching, and seizure-like actions. It causes vasodilation and produces marked reduction of BP during induction. The profound bradycardia and asystole after the administration of propofol have been observed in the healthy adults. The propofol does not have analgesic properties. It is a potent respiratory depressant and generally produces apnea after an induction dose. The solution of propofol after opening the vial, the solution should be used as soon as possible. Most on higher is the within 8 hours after opening the vial due to the chance of bacterial contamination. So the proper sterile technique is essential for its use. Plus, because of its pronounced respiratory depression effect and narrow therapeutic range, the propofol should be administered only by individuals who are trained in airway management, especially. The next agent, fospropofol. This is a water-soluble prodrug of propofol. It is used as intravenous anesthetic agent. It helps to avoid contamination problem faced with propofol solution. It means it does not cause this problem. Fospropofol is approved for sedation during monitored anesthesia care. The supplemental oxygen must be administered to all the patients receiving this drug, as airway compromise is a major concern. It is recommended that fospropofol be administered only by the persons trained in airway management, like in the case of propofol as well. Now coming to the group of the drugs, benzodiazepines. Diazepam, lorazepam and midazolam are used in anesthetic procedures. Compared with barbiturates, the benzodiazepines have slow onset of action and they produce CNS depression that is below the anesthetic state. The benzodiazepines prolong post-anesthetic recovery period, that is undesirable effect, but cause anterograde amnesia, which is loss of memory for events occurring after the drug is administered. This is useful. Midazolam is usually given 15 to 60 minutes before induction of general anesthesia to produce amnesia. And midazolam has much rapid onset of action and has shorter half-life than other benzodiazepines. Now the next agent, etomidate. Etomidate, which is also one of the intravenous anesthetic agents, it is an alternative to propofol and barbiturates for the rapid IV induction of anesthesia, especially in patients with compromised myocardial contractility. Its main advantage is that it produces minimal respiratory and cardiovascular depression. Minimal means just like no respiratory and serious depression. It produces loss of consciousness in seconds with slight hypotension and low frequency of apnea. It possesses endocrine side effects, so its clinical use in continuous infusion is limited. Its disadvantages: etomidate has no analgesic effect. Its recovery after its use occurs within 3 to 5 minutes following the induction dose. It causes high incidence of nausea and vomiting, plus pain at injection site and myoclonus. It can also produce adrenocortical suppression by inhibiting steroidogenesis with decreased plasma cortisol level after a single dose. Prolonged infusion of etomidate may result in hypotension, electrolyte imbalance and oliguria. There is also a high incidence of pain during IV injection of etomidate, which may be followed by venous irritation. The involuntary myoclonic movements are also common but may be masked by the concomitant administration of neuromuscular blocking drugs. The next agent, ketamine. The IV general anesthetic, it is a phencyclidine derivative. In induction dose, it produces dissociative anesthesia. This dissociative anesthesia is characterized by catatonia, amnesia, and analgesia without actual loss of consciousness. The patient's eyes, after its use, remain open with a slow nystagmic gaze. The ketamine inhibits the effects of excitatory neurotransmitter glutamic acid. It is rapidly distributed to highly vascular organs like brain, and subsequently it is redistributed to other organs. It is metabolized in liver and excreted in urine and bile. The mechanism of action of ketamine is complex, but it is suggested that it produces the effect through inhibition of the NMDA receptor complex. Its disadvantages: the ketamine is potent. Its advantages: the ketamine is a potent analgesic. The rapid and smooth induction and recovery is caused by it, and it does not produce hypotension but increases BP and heart rate. Therefore, can be used in shock. The pharyngeal and laryngeal reflexes remain intact, and it is less likely to produce post-op vomiting. The disadvantages of ketamine: it produces no skeletal muscle relaxation. It increases BP, intracranial pressure, intraocular pressure. The nystagmus, involuntary movements, and hypertonus may occur. During induction and recovery, the drug may produce delirium, hallucinations, and unpleasant dreams, which may be called nightmares. This is called emergence phenomena of this ketamine particularly. Ketamine is contraindicated in hypertension, cerebral trauma or tumors, and cerebrovascular accidents, in eye surgery, in alcoholic patient, or in pregnancy before term, or in the patients of psychiatric disorders. Next agent, the dexmedetomidine. It is a highly selective alpha-2 adrenergic agonist which increase alpha-2 adrenergic outflow, which causes hypnosis and analgesia. The effects of dexmedetomidine can be antagonized with alpha-2 antagonist drugs. It is principally used for the short-term sedation of intubated and ventilated patients in an ICU. The sedation caused by this drug resembles a physiological sleep state. That sleep which is through activation of endogenous sleep pathways. And this dexmedetomidine can decrease cerebral flow without significant changes in intracranial pressure and in cerebral metabolic rate of oxygen. Next group, the opioid analgesic anesthesia. The large doses of opioid analgesics are used to achieve general anesthesia in patients who are undergoing cardiac surgery or other major surgery when circulatory reserve is minimal. The morphine, fentanyl, sufentanil, alfentanil, and remifentanil, these opioids are used in this practice. The IV opioids increase the chest wall rigidity, which impairs ventilation and can produce post-op respiratory depression. The fentanyl, alfentanil, and remifentanil can be used for induction of general anesthesia. Remifentanil is rapidly metabolized in the body and has short duration of action. And fentanyl is used commonly in combination with droperidol, which is a neuroleptic drug, and this combination, when used, produces neuroleptic analgesia. This neuroleptic analgesia is the method of IV analgesia in which the neuroleptic agent droperidol and narcotic analgesic, they are given in combination. The neuroleptic agent which are used for major psychosis produce sedation, calming effect and detach the patient from surroundings, and narcotic analgesic relieves the pain. This condition, neuroleptic analgesia, differs from classical anesthesia in that the patient remains conscious in this condition and the patient remains able to cooperate during operation. This analgesia, neuroleptic analgesia, is most commonly used combination is that of neuroleptic agent droperidol and narcotic analgesic fentanyl. When nitrous oxide is given with these agents for induction, it produces neuroleptic anesthesia. Droperidol, which is a butyrophenone derivative, it is a short-acting agent. It has calming and sedative effect, and like other antipsychotics, it produces extrapyramidal side effects. The fentanyl is short-acting, very potent opioid narcotic analgesic. Its combination is mainly used in practice. Like morphine, fentanyl produces respiratory depression, vomiting, and meiosis. The main advantages of this type of the analgesia, neuroleptic analgesia, are: number one, smooth onset and rapid post-op recovery. The danger of circulatory disturbance is minimum. The patient remains conscious and cooperative, and the analgesia is obtained continuously in post-operative period. The side effects may be mental depression, extrapyramidal symptoms, and respiratory depression. Now, the anesthetic agents, IV anesthetic agents are over. We are considering now the pre-anesthetic medications. The term pre-anesthetic medication means the use of certain drugs before the administration of general anesthetics. The aim of such medication is to make anesthesia safer, easier, and more agreeable to the patient. The principal objectives of pre-anesthetic medication are to provide sedation and analgesia, and reduce the secretions during surgery, and to decrease the vomiting, particularly post-operatively. Now, for sedation and amnesia, the patient undergoing surgical procedure is usually worried about the operation, and he or she may experience anxiety. So the reassurance and use of drugs like benzodiazepines reduce the anxiety. Benzodiazepines in lower doses, anxiolytic doses. The benzodiazepines also produce sedation, amnesia, and skeletal muscle relaxation. Benzodiazepines are superior to barbiturates as respiratory depression develops less frequently with benzodiazepines than barbiturates. In pre-anesthetic doses, benzodiazepine decreases BP and reflexly increase heart rate. For analgesia, the narcotic analgesics are commonly used. They are used to supplement anesthetic agents having low analgesic effect when pain is expected to occur after surgery. The narcotic analgesic may be given at the end of operation provided respiratory depression is not present, and to achieve the object of decreasing secretions during surgery. The anticholinergic drugs are used like atropine. They are used generally to decrease the salivary and bronchial secretions. Atropine also prevents reflex bradycardia. The bronchial and salivary secretions are often watery and profuse when happen with ether and ketamine anesthesia. The atropine, scopolamine, glycopyrrolate, also known as glycopyrronium, are used as anticholinergics to decrease the secretions. And to decrease the post-op vomiting, we use antiemetics like metoclopramide and promethazine to prevent post-operative vomiting. Metoclopramide increases gastric emptying, increases the tone of lower esophageal sphincter, and is often preferred. Some other drugs like antacids or H2 receptor blockers or proton pump inhibitors. They are given for the prophylaxis of aspiration of acid gastric contents, plus such drugs serve the purpose of reducing the gastric acid production, which also helps in the prevention of vomiting, because before and after the surgery the patients are kept NPO for at least 6 hours. Then patient's BP and blood sugar must be controlled if patient is hypertensive and diabetic. Before surgery, these parameters should be controlled, and the pre-anesthetic medication is usually given 1 to 2 hours prior to anesthesia. And that's all for this class. Thank you. Best of luck.